This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
.15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The Prime Minister appreciates the cooperation provided by the Turkish government to Sri Lanka in the critical period. Minister Ramesh Patirana states that there are more avenues for new industries in Sri Lanka rather than opting for the existing ones. The amount of foreign currency sent by expat workers to Sri Lanka has increased by 16.4% in August. The Secretary-General of the Inter-Parliamentary Union is scheduled to visit the island today. The Navy arrests 85 people suspected of attempting illegal migrations. Thousands to line the streets as Queen Elizabeth II's coffin leaves Balmoral. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena appreciates the cooperation provided by the Turkish government to Sri Lanka in the critical period. He said the newly introduced relaxed visa regulations and the investment facilitation programs will help Sri Lanka draw in more Prime Minister investors. The Prime Minister made these remarks when the Turkish ambassador Rakibe Demet visited him recently. The Prime Minister added further that the opportunity to invest in agricultural machinery, pharmaceuticals and medical equipment as well as renewable energy and the fishing industry has risen through cooperation. Meanwhile, the Turkish ambassador stated that Turkey already provided a stock of medicines and surgical equipment last month. She added that 2 more consignments of medicines will arrive in Sri Lanka. Next week, the Prime Minister thanked Turkey for its support and assistance to Sri Lanka throughout the difficult times. Minister Ramesh Patirana states that there are more avenues to step into new industries in Sri Lanka rather than opting for the existing ones. He said the renewable energy sector too should be developed hurriedly as there are good openings and also a demand for the industry today in the island. He said the government should also provide helping hands to promote local industries. The minister made these remarks addressing a gathering at the Renewable Energy Promotion Exhibition held at the headquarters of the All Ceylon Buddhist Association today. The Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nayakara reports that the amount of foreign currency sent by expat workers to Sri Lanka has increased by 16.4% in August compared to July of this year. He further stated that more than 200,000 workers have registered with the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment to depart for jobs abroad this year. The minister went on to say that the amount of remittances from foreign labour increased from $279 million in July to $325 million in August. It was an increase of $46 million. The minister states that everyone in Sri Lanka needs the help of expat workers at this time as the nation is experiencing a foreign exchange shortage. He also expressed his gratitude to every expat worker who has sent money through the banking system legally. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
Mr. Martin Chungong, the Secretary-General of the Inter-Parliamentary Union IPU, is scheduled to visit the island today. The visit of the Secretary-General of the Inter-Parliamentary Union was organised in response to an invitation issued by President Ranil Wickremesinghe while he was Prime Minister. Mr. Martin Chungong will be greeted at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake by Mr. Angajan Ramanathan, the Deputy Committee Chairman of the Parliament, and Mr. Dhammika Dasanayake, the Secretary-General of the Parliament. The IPU Secretary-General will meet with President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena during his official visit. He will also meet with Sri Lanka's Speaker of Parliament Mahinda Yapa Abeyewardena. Following this, he will meet the House Leader Susil Premajayanth and the Opposition Leader Sajith Premadasa. The SLNS Rana Vikrama of the Eastern Naval Command intercepted a suspicious local multi-day fishing trawler. A subsequent search of the trawler resulted in the arrest of 85 people suspected of attempting illegal migration to a foreign country by sea. The apprehended individuals included 60 males, 14 females over the age of 18 and 11 others under the age of 18. The Navy also detained the multi-day fishing trawler that was used for this illegal sea voyage. The suspects detained are from Batikalo, Trincomalee, Muthur, Kilinochchi, Jaffna and Madhu. The Navy said the group of would-be illegal immigrants and the multi-day fishing trawler are being brought to the Trincomalee harbour. They will be handed over to the Trincomalee Harbour Police for further legal proceedings.
Nobody looks for hotels like this. So why do you still pay with cash when you have People's Pay mobile app from People's Bank? Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena appreciates the cooperation provided by the Turkish government to Sri Lanka in this critical time. He said the newly introduced relaxed visa regulations and the investment facilitation programs will help Sri Lanka draw in more tourists and Prime Minister investors. The Prime Minister made these remarks when the Turkish ambassador Rakib Edem visited him recently. Meanwhile, the Turkish ambassador stated that Turkey already provided a stock of medicines and surgical equipment last month. She added that 2 more consignments of medicines will arrive in Sri Lanka next week. The Prime Minister thanked Turkey for its support and assistance to Sri Lanka throughout these difficult times.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And now in Watchlight. The Public Utilities Commission states electricity demand has decreased over the last 2 months. As a result, in comparison last year, weekly consumption of 48 to 49 million units has decreased to 38 to 39 million units for weekdays and 33 to 34 million units for weekends. The chairman of the commission, Janaka Ratnayaka, stated that aside from the usual power cuts, the reason for the decrease in consumption is that people have opted to choose alternative power generation methods. That came to you in Watchlight in World News Headlines. Thousands to line the streets as Queen Elizabeth II's coffin leaves Balmoral. The Ukrainian army claims to have tripled the territory retaken. Hundreds of people were evacuated in West Indonesia following a magnitude 6.1 earthquake. People are lining the streets as Queen Elizabeth II's coffin travels from Balmoral to Edinburgh. As part of the journey to London for her funeral on the 19th of September, the hearse is being driven to the Palace of Holyrood House, the monarch's official residence in Scotland. Mourners stood silently as her coffin passed by, wrapped in the Royal Standard of Scotland. The coffin is expected to arrive in Edinburgh around 4 BST after a 6-hour journey through Aberdeen and Dundee. 6 gamekeepers from a Balmoral estate had earlier loaded the Queen's oak coffin into a hearse before she left for the last time. The Princess Royal is riding in the cottage's second car with her husband Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence. Once in Edinburgh, the Queen's coffin will spend the night at Holyrood House. The coffin will be carried to St Giles's Cathedral on Monday afternoon, accompanied by the King and other members of the royal family. Ukraine's military claims to have retaken over 3,000 square kilometers. It is said the Kiev's forces have more than tripled their stated gains in less than 48 hours. The Ukrainian figures cannot be verified by any media outlet, and journalists have been denied access to the front lines. Ukrainian forces are still fighting for control of a number of settlements around Izium, according to officials in Kiev. On Saturday, Ukrainian troops entered the vital Russian-held supply towns of Izium and Kupiansk as part of the eastern counterattack. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry confirmed its forces' withdrawal from Izium and Kupiansk, saying it will allow its forces to regroup in territory controlled by Moscow-backed separatists. An earthquake of magnitude 6.1 struck the islands in western Indonesia on Sunday, causing some property damage, the country's disaster mitigation agency stated. Authorities said the quake in the Mentawai Islands west of Sumatra struck at a depth of 27 kilometers and was followed by another of magnitude 5.3 in the same area. There was no threat of a tsunami. According to the disaster agency, one person was injured in the head by falling wood, and a school and a health center were among the properties that were slightly damaged. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. Thousands to line the streets as Queen Elizabeth II's coffin leaves Balmoral. The Ukrainian army claims to have tripled the territory retaken. Hundreds of people were evacuated in West Indonesia following a magnitude 6.1 earthquake. That was world news, and now in development news. The newly introduced relaxed visa regulations and the Board of Investment's investment facilitation programs will help Sri Lanka draw in more Turkish investors. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena made these remarks when the Turkish ambassador Rakibet Ahmet visited him on Friday at the Prime Minister's office. The Turkish ambassador informed the Prime Minister about the challenges some Turkish businessmen were having in obtaining long-term residency visas. The Prime Minister thanked Turkey for its support and assistance to Sri Lanka throughout these difficult times.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Sri Lanka defeated Singapore to win the Asian Netball Championship and qualify for the World Cup in 2023. Sri Lanka won the Asian Netball Championships for the record sixth time. After losing to Sri Lanka, Singapore placed second at the Asian Netball Championship for a second consecutive season. However, defending champion Sri Lanka rallied in the second period to outscore Singapore 14-11, but the Singapore team held on for a 30-27 half-time lead. Sri Lanka levelled the game before taking the lead and winning 46-38 thanks to veteran Tarjini Sivalingim's performance in the circle. Both teams played their best in the tense fourth quarter, with Sri Lanka's shooters scoring 17 goals to Singapore's 15. Singapore was unable to close the gap as Sri Lanka won 63-53 to claim their sixth Asian Championship trophy. Sri Lanka coach Hyacinth Wijayasinghe said the victory gave the team and people something to celebrate in the midst of the country's economic turmoil. President Ranil Wickremesinghe congratulated the unbeaten Sri Lankan netball team on their victory against Singapore in the Asian Netball Championships.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Food and organic product exporters have urged the country's testing laboratories to improve the speed and quality of their testing. They claim that report delays from the labs cost them millions of dollars. The Export Development Authority organized a meeting between food and organic product exporters and the country's top product testing laboratories. The aim of this meeting was to share the requirements and capacity to improve productivity all around. Sarat Anarveera, chairman of BioFood, said local laboratories' credibility and recognition among overseas buyers must be improved. Meanwhile, testing laboratories had agreed to share updated testing and certifications with exporters as soon as possible in order to minimize delays.
Business News, sponsored by...
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Economic News, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The U.S. announced an additional $40 million through the U.S. Agency for International Development USAID to improve Sri Lankan agriculture. It was provided through the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO. Subject to congressional approval, the additional funding will bring USAID's total funding to the Sri Lankan people through FAO this year to $46 million. The funding is primarily intended for the upcoming Maha Major cultivation season and the Yala Minor cultivation season 2023.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And now for the weather report. A few showers are expected in the western Sabaragama provinces, as well as in the Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Gala and Mathura districts and Med Department states. The rest of the island will see mostly sunny skies. Strong winds of up to 50 kilometers per hour expected over the western slopes of the Central Hills, the northern and north central provinces and the Trincomalee district at times. That was the weather report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The Prime Minister appreciates the cooperation provided by the Turkish government to Sri Lanka in the critical period. Minister Ramesh Patirana states that there are more avenues for new industries in Sri Lanka rather than opting for existing ones. The amount of foreign currency sent by expat workers to Sri Lanka has increased by 16.4% in August. The Secretary General of the Inter-Parliamentary Union is scheduled to visit the island today. The Navy arrests 85 people suspected of attempting illegal migration. Thousands to line the streets as Queen Elizabeth II's coffin leaves Balmoral.